It kind of seems like they kind of counted the chickens before the egg hatch. They're kind of playing like they think they already won, or they're playing with too much pressure now. These are kind of uncharacteristic, hardcore like dives and plays that they're making. And I think it's a bit because of the draft too. Like they don't feel that confident going 35 minutes into this game with the team comp they have. So moving to game 5, I'm interested to see what they'll do.
Definitely felt like they were working against the clock. There were 6 teleports in that game and 2 spellbooks.
And a Tom Kenschult.
And a Tom Kenschult. So essentially 9 globals across the 2 teams. It made for a very hectic but very action-packed game. And I think, it's interesting to see that because TL seemed to excel in the counter plays. As you mentioned, Crumbs, it was always TSM initiating the play and TL responding.
And I think that's TL recognizing what TSM and specifically Acadian is trying to do and making sure that everywhere he goes, somebody is going to try to answer that either by scaring him off or actually countering the play. And that puts so much pressure on a fresh player. First time in playoffs, now you're in finals. Like, what can I do? I'm going for every single gank, and I'm getting countered every single time. So he must be feeling a ton of pressure after this match.
And I think a lot of it goes back to the draft as well, standardizing a lot after Game 1 and Game 2 had all these weird picks. Now we see Team Liquid, who some people complained about, they're more limited in play style or champion pools. Well, they're getting standard drafts, and they're showing why they're so good at that play style. Their players are incredible mechanically, and each lane can step up at any point in the game.
Let's roll through that final fight of the game, the one that brought us to Game 5. Of course, at this point, TL does have a massive lead, so we know it's an uphill battle for TSM to take this fight.
And this is starting off by the same Skarner that we've seen all game long, pulling the Rek'Sai in. If she can't get the start that she wants, she's almost useless in the fight. So TL eliminates Acadian right away, and everything there falls into place because you have the Varus kiting away and the Zillion being able to protect himself with the ultimate, and with the gold advantage that they have, it's already all too easy.
Right. I mean, they started that fight with Ezreal at 1 HP. You saw Impact just flash Q, and the guy's basically dead. So it's a desperate fight, but there's always better times for desperate fights.
All right, Game 5.
Oh, baby.
Forget everything. Forget everything that came prior to this. There's one game that separates each of these teams from an LCS title. We've talked about all the storylines. For Doublelift, it would be moving to 6. For Bjergsen, moving to 6 to cement themselves as the most winning player in the LCS. For Sven, looking to be the first to do it between EU and NA. For our playoff rookies, looking to grab that first one. For Jensen to grab his first title after so long. I mean, we talk about
Smithy,
pressure.
the list keeps going.
Everyone is feeling pressure, so it's hard to make pressure the argument for one team winning or losing. So what do we want to see in this Game 5?
I absolutely want to see Bjergsen on a champion that can call its own number. That's exactly what he turned to in Game 3 to start that reverse sweep versus C9. Now you need to put an end to someone else's reverse sweep, and I want to see him on the Akali himself. I love Broken Blade. He's been fantastic all playoffs long, but I would have rather seen him on something else and have the Akali end up in Bjergsen's hands.
I would actually like to see a slower pace game. I think that's what's going to happen in Game 5 anyway. People are a bit pressured and they're feeling the pressure coming onto them. And we've seen in the past 4 games that the team that has a better scaling comp has won all 4 times. So I feel like TSM's going to draft the slower comp and try and win the condition 35, 40 minutes into the game.
Listen, I don't mind seeing a slow game as long as it draws out and we see tons of fights, because these guys have been team fighting so effortless,ly that I just want to keep going. If we could make it a best of 7, that'd be down.
Yeah, I'll petition for that. I'll see if the producers will latch on. I've got a surprise for you guys. TL with side selection is electing to go to red side. So
red.
Yes, all teams have gone for blue up to this point. TL is going to stay on red. Is this an indicator that they're going to look for Impact to have that opportunity to counter pick in the top lane again? Or do you hand that over to, say, Jensen this time around, expecting Bjergsen to take more ownership over that mid lane?
I think it's an indicator that they're going to do something real funky with the draft. Sylas and Taric have been almost permabanned. If they choose to remove one of those 2 or even both from the draft, everything could just go haywire and we have no idea what to expect.
I don't think they'll change too much of it, to be honest. I feel like they're going to do the same thing where they're looking for a counter pick in the jungle and or top. It seems like the mid laners are kind of just blind picking and they're just okay with it. But the top and the jungle are the biggest changes in this game. You can see in games 2, 3, 4, when the jungler's ahead, it's really good for that team. So they need to get a good jungle pick, and that's how you do it with the right side.
I mean, either way, I'm just excited for whoever wins the series because there will have been a very close battle for it, and either TSM rebounds facing down a reverse sweep and shows their mental fortitude, or TA Liquid did complete the reverse sweep and they had to come back from down 2 games. So either way, the champion we're getting will be a champion with a lot of grit and able to keep their mentality strong for a series.
I want to see TSM ban Skarner and first pick Varus. Varus is currently 7-2 in LCS playoffs. Picked twice so far, won these games. I think it's really good for Double Lift so far, and the Skarner on Xmithie has been way too powerful. This is the meta that we've had in the finals. Recognize it, adapt, change it, and make your opponent put them in a tough spot.
I mean, Crumbs, you're always coming in with these amazing pick ban stats in playoffs. I love it. Gentlemen, I already have you guys' predictions for the series, and I'm not going to look for you to change that. But I do want to return to the main through line here, the main story, Double Lift versus Bjergsen. You've got one game left to prove yourself and become the champion of the LCS. Who are you putting your money on?
Never changed. It's Bjergsen.
It's Bjergsen here. I know you want to see Bjergsen.
This is backwards for me. I think Team Liquid will win.
But
so I got to put my money on Double Lift then, right?
All right, okay, fair enough. Here you see TL with smiles on their faces making their way back to the stage. Quite a change in tune for them from Game 3 to now. Entering to cheers from the crowd. I would expect nothing less from this amazing stadium here in St. Louis. Ladies and gentlemen, Game 5 means one thing: Silver Scrapes. We'll see you here for the title decider after this.
Wait, he's using your skin, Peter. Is that allowed? What the? What? I'm gonna report this guy.
They're looking for Jensen again.
Flash for the root, knocking, and there's the flash for the knockup. Re-answered though, and first blood comes through to Team Liquid. Bjergsen knew he was dead. He had Double Lift behind him. Will they be able to wait this out? No. Ah, that's so good. They get him to 5 HP, and they force the flash out, and the Void Rush.
We should go. We should go. But that's almost so, baby. We should go. We should go. Let's go. Let's go. Yeah, that's almost. I'm TP. I'm TP. Double TP. Double TP. I'm looking at side. Side. I'm coming soon. That's it. I'm coming back. Next one.
Bjergsen can't find the kill. He'll drop instead. 4 kills to Team Liquid. The perfect number for them, as Core JJ can't quite get number 5. Instead, the middle inhibitor will drop. Game 4 goes to them. It is the fastest of the series. over the finish line. But TSM have the greatest player of all time in North America in Bjergsen. And in times like these, he steps up, and he is the reason why his team wins title after title. And we are at a Champion Select. Team Liquid chose red.
Some key champions have emerged with the recent success of Team Liquid. Core JJ's Tom Kench and Xsmithy's Skarner. The point and click CC, the point and click CC denial.
I'm so interested to see if TSM will first pick the Lissandra once again, if it is left up. If you're TL, I think you just try to run back basically the same draft, but TSM could be saying the same thing.
There it is.
Tom Kench ban makes a lot of sense. That has been enabling Doublelift so much in these last 2 games where he has been a monster.
It leaves up the Kindred ban they had used before, commonly known as a counter pick to Rek'Sai. It makes it a bit of a harder blind pick.
And with Zilean available, you know, if something like Lissandra is picked here, you can go Kindred Zilean as an answer to that and have that as your kind of first 2 picks.
Will more importance be put on this Varus? Both teams succeeding with that as their bottom lane carry. Galio returning as the first pick, though, does have the global, does have the AoE taunt for the double knock.
And I like this more from TSM. I don't think they have to first pick the Lissandra. Jensen, you know, is not traditionally much of a Lissandra player. He doesn't really prefer that champion as much. So I still think TSM may have an opportunity to grab it in their next couple picks. And even if TL does go for it, that is Jensen blind picking Lissandra into Bjergsen and giving him the option to kind of deal with that.
Well, all of Liquid's wins have been on the backs of Varus and Tom Kench. One of those has been denied. The Varus still up, but you think it's probably in consideration to be grabbed right here. Skarner actually hovered early on. With every other jungler available, they want the Impale.
A lot of their picks have come off the back of Xsmithy finding the Impale, but also good at clearing, good with the objective control. If you get the Spires around the neutral objective you're going for, that has given them quite a lot of security.
And I think additionally, Bjergsen and Broken Blade have both been putting a huge priority on champions who rely on mobility for their success. When you're looking at Aurelia, when you're looking at Akali, LeBlanc, all these sorts of champions, Smithy can just say no, and he hits you with the ultimate and forcing at the very least QSS tax.
Okay, well, Zoe was victorious for Bjergsen earlier, and the Heimerdinger didn't look too good. Jensen, do you grab your pick right now and find your counteraction? Do you take the Varus to make sure you've got that?
I think they could just go Zilean again. You know, it'll be interesting to see if he wants to go for lane, but I think Zilean makes a lot of sense. You know, pick that again now. Yes, the Varus could get banned out, but there's a lot of kind of late game carries that you could go for. Instead, it will be lane focused. Jensen putting that pressure on himself. Game 5, it is him versus Bjergsen. He has the counter pick and wants to blast this lane.
The main part of this counter pick is all about gank setup and LeBlanc being able to choose the initiation onto Zoe, but they don't have a high damage jungler that's going to come through. They're still going to need a lot of coordination here to pull this off.
Jarvan removed, Sivir now removed as well, so we wait to see what exactly Devils is going to play. Knows he's against Ezreal plus Galio, knows Braum is on his team.
I mean, Lucian is available if they want to play 4 lane. Lucian Braum is certainly someone that can threaten not only the Ezreal, but the Galio in particular. If Galio ever does step up, you do have the opportunity to take him down, but Lucian certainly is not as strong as some of these other carries when you do get to that super late game, when you have a lot of items and these crit marksmen are scaling up. So we'll see if Doublelift elects to just go back to the Varus, if TSM are going to leave it up once more.
Don't see a reason not to. Has had a lot of success thus far.
The only real kind of question there is, do you feel safe enough playing Varus without the Tom Kench, right? Because maybe he wants to make a move back to a champion that has more mobility, like the Lucian. He was not successful in those first 2 games when he didn't have that safety.
TSM not showing any dive right now, save for the Galio. The bubble is going to have to be what he has to worry about. Dodging that is important.
He's smiling.
Give it to me.
Game 5 LCS Finals. And he goes with the Kaisa.
Okay.
Still a strong champ.
And I think makes a lot of sense. There's already a ton of CC on his team. Braum is going to proc the passive stacks there. Skarner is certainly going to do that. Even LeBlanc chains can. That is going to add a lot of extra damage and also be able to assist in kind of diving back. You know, if you hit a Skarner ultimate onto this Ezreal, all of a sudden Kaisa can fly in and help to finish off that pick.
Will TSM stay true to what they've found success with? Broken Blade on an independent champion for the top side.
And big questions about what Impact will do. GP and Kennen are both gone, right? Now he has to answer this Akali. Will he go to yet another carry with a lot of these top lane carries already banned out? Jace is gone, the GP is gone, Kennen is gone. Will he go back to a tank? I'm very curious to see where the direction will be.
Well, TSM clearly going with full comfort here for all of their players.
Oh, Impact. The Shen for him would be huge. I do think Yorick can actually answer Akali quite well, but you do have to be careful about potential all-ins, and Vladimir will be the option. The team fight for TL will be brutal later on in the game, but they're going to have to get there first, as you certainly think a lot of these lanes, there is abilities for Rek'Sai to impact them and have a big early game.
Yeah, I mean, Broken Blade had such big games for TSM on the Vladimir. Now Impact going to try and turn the tables and run it back on them. Definitely has a lot of backline access. Team Liquid's team play, their coordination with teleports, has what brought them here, brought us here to game number 5.
And it's going to be the last words from the coaches. The last guidance they get. It's now down to the 10 players on stage, their instincts, their preparation, their training, and how well they can do now when the pressure is on. The trophy on the line, the title in St. Louis stands before them. Championship number 6 for Bjergsen and Doublelift. Core JJ, the spring split MVP. He's on Braum now. Impact push to a Vladimir that carried so hard from his opposite member. Broken Blade, his first time in North America, on another carry, this time the Akali. Lost last game, it can do it here. And Smoothie, he lost in game 5 not long ago. Cracked under the pressure. Now is the time to show up and prove that you are the best team in North America. The spring split finals come down to this. Let me hear you for Team Liquid and TSM.
One final game for the LCS Championship.
Can't ask for more than this from these two teams who have played their hearts out already. Both teams showing really strong performances, and the tide has shifted in this last games towards TL, but can TSM recoup? Can they bounce back and kind of reset their mental after 2 rough games?
Both teams settling on what works for them so far. Team Liquid back to the Skarner. TSM back with the Rek'Sai, Ezreal, Zoe.
Just the fact that Smoothie was spamming taunt actually gives me some faith in his mental, that he's not so tunnel visioned on the game that he still feels a bit loose in the sort of state you need to be in to play at your best. Pressure, of course, is going to be a word tossed around a lot when talking about this series. Team Liquid poised to win 3 straight, not just games, but LCS titles. TSM, so few teams actually stave off the reverse sweep. They got to do it here.
If they can do it, if TSM can win this championship this year, they will have more championships than all other LCS teams combined.
And they will have answered all questions. The bracket that they had to go through, they had to beat C9 in a grueling 5-game series. Now going the distance here against TL. Certainly all questions will have been answered.
The mid lane is cleared away. Perfect CS for Jensen. It's always a good sign when you're back there.
Oh, first big play, sleep and chain proc at the same time.
And that was Ignite from Jensen. He was going very aggressive there, so that sleep from Bjergsen shut down a lot of it, and it's just +1 summoner now for Bjergsen. Fairly even trade, and the heal is still available.
It is a good time to use it against Zoe without being level 3. She can't steal it back and trade the damage, so a little bit of chip done before she can hit you back with it.
And again, LeBlanc always looks for the gank setup in this matchup with Zoe. Can go distortion with the chains, allowing Skarner to close that distance. Not usually a champion that can have an early impact. Cadian knows this on the Rek'Sai, circling around, using the passive to try and find Xmithie. Opens up on the Raptors, and the junglers see each other for the first time this game.
A battle for a couple of camps and a little bit of gold. It is Xmithie who takes and retains control of his side of the jungle. 13-16 in overall jungle CS.
Meanwhile, bottom lane, Doublelift has gone with the cleanse on Kai'Sa this time around. He does not have Core JJ on the Tahm Kench for a Devour. Using an extra summoner here for later on in the game.
So it will mean TP advantage for TSM, right? They have that marksman with the teleport who can potentially answer side lane plays. Doublelift not going to have that luxury as Taunt Flash from Galio way too threatening. And even that sleep from Zoe can mean certain death if you don't have a cleanse available or someone to block it.
There'll be something to track later on. If the map plays don't matter and it comes down to team fights, one extra combat summoner. But as you mentioned, if it is map plays, then TP can mean a lot more. We'll wait to see that one play out. Close game, of course, in the early laning phase. Impact push to Vladimir here. Got his pick against Broken Blade. So far farming off a very small deficit to the Vladimir, but nothing to write home about just yet. Mid lane advantage to Jensen. That counter pick working out quite well.
Aggressive trade here from Broken Blade does find the extra damage. Early on, Impact just trying to CS and heal back up off the minions.
Xmithie took the first recall out of the jungle. Of course, with Predator, you want boots ASAP, and now that's been matched by a Cadian, but the Gromp will die, and they will stay pretty close in farm.
And Skarner's actually pretty good at power clearing now that they've increased the range of the Spires. Can even do Krugs, no effort required. Now that everything has been cleared, back out onto the map, trying to get the deeper vision. He gets a ward over the back of the wall, but top side, Broken Blade finding another trade.
Also really worth taking into account that it is an Ocean first dragon, right? So that is something that's very, very big, I think, on the minds of both these two teams. If you can take that, that is eliminating a lot of the threat of this poke and kind of wear down from either side.
Skarner is definitely a champion capable of soloing the dragon. First Predator is activated for Xmithie. Looking towards the bottom side, but Smoothie and Sven back off as the minion wave moves up. Good communication and caution here in game number 5. No mistakes will be allowed here.
We heard the analyst has talked about the fact that game 5 would probably be slower. High brought it up as the pressure mounts, and you know one mistake might cost you the entire season.
It's so much on the line, but at the same time, in those situations, sometimes it is the person who has the confidence to go aggressive, the confidence to make that play that can decide the game, right? If you sit back too much, if you always give the opportunity to be that playmaker to your opponent, then certainly they can make good on it. And there are so many players here in like this series that are going to be able to look for those sorts of plays, the guys who have the confidence to do it.
Broken Blade's certainly one of them. Constantly looking for those opportunities. Cadian himself going for the invades.
Drops the ward, has the scuttle, out he goes. First recall comes in, kill no gem plus the dark seal and a potion. Sustain and CDR, the required stats for a Vladimir.
And you want to see Acadian still, keeping that faith in himself. Yes, they did have a rough couple last 2 games, but he has had the success he has had by playing aggressive, by being in the face of his opponents. And it is going to be TSM actually starting this up. They do have TP advantage. They're going to use Ezreal's TP to come over here.
Mid laner's got to robe over as well. Zoe has the inside track, so Bjergsen gets there first.
Pushes out Jensen with the bubble. This is Ocean Drake. Super early on, picked up. Goes to TSM. That is very large.
Taking the first play for themselves. Talk about sitting back, Azael. TSM are out of their seats.
Yeah, TSM willing to make that aggressive move, and I think that's huge. And really, you have to credit Broken Blade. Doublelift decides to make the recall because Sven is TP'd back. He just has a strong buy. If you try to commit to that fight fully, Broken Blade could be TPing him behind you and you could get wiped. So they had to give that respect over to him.
Exactly. In the last game, teleports on display throughout. This time around, TSM making use of their advantage early on.
Really being the far better player, and Ocean Drake is just absurd for laning phase here. Infinite mana on Sven, he can keep going for that Q poke. And now this looks a bit dangerous for Impact. Burns the Hemo Plague empowered Q is good healing. Broken Blade, of course, able to walk this one away, but that is ult down.
Yeah, he did also have his magic damage shield proc there from the runes, so that is another little cost to that trade. And Broken Blade does still have his ult available.
Predator pop, ult triggered right there. Now Impact's gotta be careful around this one. As Broken Blade's invisible, round 2, goes for the stun, gets first blood, 1v1, and now must run away from McSmithy. Acadian nearby to keep him alive, and that is massive in game 5.
Broken Blade from the TCL, first split in the LCS Finals, game 5, finds a first blood solo kill.
That was massive from Broken Blade, and Impact unable to flash it, unable to react to that second activation of the ultimate. He had Smithy closer on the play. They were hoping to bait him in, hoping to turn that around, but it's Broken Blade getting the solo kill and getting out.
Ooh, almost round 2 there in the mid lane, but Jensen able to distort away, no flashes committed.
And honestly, for Jensen, this lane is going to start feeling a little bit doomed now that he has the Ocean Dragon on the side of Bjergsen. It's so much harder to actually pressure your opponent. Zoe can dump resources back off and continually regen up.
And by ganking mid lane, you open up Zoe now. They push the wave. They go for the blue invade. The pressure can cascade down the map here for TSM. They're pushing the bottom lane in. They steal the blue buff. And the early game is theirs.
Yeah, the early game is all TSM's. They're certainly looking dominant in this game 5. A huge bounce back after what was a slaughter in the early game of game 4.
This whole series has gone back and forth, Azale, even the first 2 games. All right, let's take another look at the top side. Broken Blade deciding whether he needed to escape or go for the kill. He opts for the kill. Finds Acadian there for some support to get him out and even escapes afterwards.
And this starts to look like game 1 where Broken Blade completely popped off in the Vladimir and was the difference in that game. Akali can do the same.
One critical difference, though, this is not the Kennen who has to slam lane. This is a Vladimir who can sustain, who can hang on. And as long as he's able to do that, it's more similar to the GP, where you can all of a sudden show up 40 minutes into the game and be like, well, hello, I'm 0-5, but I'm still going to kill everyone.
Yep, the last 2 games certainly have been Team Liquid and Team Liquid through team play.
Nice try. He pulled up far enough back. There was a chance he steals the Grop. Doesn't get it here. Sweeps the ward. We go back to look at this bottom lane. Pretty equal in farm, but it's actually Sven slightly ahead. Helps grab the Ocean Drake as well. So a really solid 2-on-2 down here for the TSM side of things. They are winning kind of everywhere. More than 10 CS up in both solos and pressure in the bottom lane. TSM putting out their best early game of the series in this climactic game 5.
Smithy on the Skarner here. Does have flash and ultimate available. Predator not going to come back up from the attempt on top side, but he's looking to try and make use of this big level 6 spike. Wasn't able to make anything happen to save Impact, and hasn't been able to combine with Jensen either. The LeBlanc into Zoe matchup is about your extra mobility, about the chain for setting up for kills. But Team Liquid have not found them.
Yeah, they've really just farmed even in that mid lane, so certainly Bjergsen equal to the task thus far. It is Broken Blade back up to that top side. That is an 11-minute Gunblade, which is going to feel so difficult to pressure this guy now, and they're onto the Rift Herald. They have solo lane advantage. Even Smoothie roaming up to threaten an ultimate.
Exactly. The Akali right now cannot be contested. Topside control opens up the Rift Herald here. Bjergsen push in the mid lane. He even helps finish off the objective here. With the help of Ocean Drake, he can spend as much mana as he wants, finishing up the Rift Herald damage and still get back the lane.
Barely drops any CS here as Jensen and LeBlanc has yet to make himself otherwise known. You can see more in the mid game, but that is Acadian with this Rift Herald picked up, and with 2 minutes of drop down plates, could give even more gold to Broken Blade. Already 2 turret plates in. Chunks Impact to half.
Team Liquid have fought tooth and nail to get to this game. Now they're doing with the Rift Herald spawn on top side.
Roam, though.
They're looking for this play, flashing over the wall, suppressing. There's the burst. They do knock down Acadian as that turret plates fall.
And it is Jensen who roams up on the LeBlanc. They can finish off this Rift Herald, but Broken Blade was around for all of this cash.
Yeah, TSM should have known that Jensen was coming up, though. He was missing from the lane. They had time to perhaps react to it, but maybe thought they could kill the turret off first and then perhaps look for an escape or an outplay. It is the kill, though, going their way.
And now Broken Blade must make an escape. Does have flash, does have second charge of ultimate.
And with
they're not going to go.
Yeah, with that extra threat, he's actually going to 2v1.
Puts in the damage, forces a TP out.
God.
Core JJ, I believe, with the spell book, shows up as Kaisa is alone in the bottom lane. Core has to walk all the way around now.
This pressure that Broken Blade is putting on is insane. He pushes back 2, he forces out a teleport from a 3rd. Now Core JJ will have to make the long run down to bot lane, and Broken Blade should just be able to take this turret easy peasy. It's so low. Let's see if he can do it.
Damage on impact first, still staying at half HP with the empowered Q. Looks okay, but yes, this turret is getting very, very low.
Meanwhile, Team Liquid need to turn their sights towards Jensen. Currently, TSM actually finishing up this objective. Jensen pushed in the mid lane. Bottom lane had recalled. That dragon is all TSM. Jensen, though, is their hope. The LeBlanc got the kill on the roam top side, is a burst damage assassin. Can he put a stop to this TSM onslaught? They are overwhelming the early game.
They really are, but TL do still have incredible 5v5. When you're looking at the Skarner versus the Rek'Sai, when you're looking at Vladimir against the Kali, even the Kaisa against the Ezreal, you're favoring a lot of these matchups for TL in the later stages of the game, but they need to kind of stop the bleeding here.
Broken Blade.
Decent damage out from impact, but yeah, not really in enough danger here. A few more autos. It should die before plates fall, and that'll be a significant chunk. 6-10 over to the Akali.
I mean, Impact just can't pressure him, right? You know, he's outpaced him too much. Your damage is too far behind Broken Blade's healing on this Akali with the super early Gunblade, as well as the Ocean Dragon. His regen is just insane.
Aside from the Gangplank game, Broken Blade has dominated that matchup. Bottom side, though, Team Liquid fighting back. They're able to get the Demolish proc and double lift using the extra attack speed off the E to take this turret down to 50%.
Does get decent damage out of it. Does have the Q evolve, so the wave clear is pretty solid. Even Skarner sitting around to make sure he stays safe. This does feel like a game that might just come down to the Kaisa. You look at the gold as well, and this LeBlanc doing well was, last I checked, the only player with a gold lead on the team.
And double lift, because you mentioned the Kaisa is going for the early double evolve build with the Storm Razor start, trying to get both the Q evolve and the attack speed invisibility evolve. I think that is important when you're facing against an Akali that got this much early.
And those turret plates there tell the story of the early game. 8-0 for TSM. That is most of their advantage right there. Lane dominance paying off in this new world with turret plates. You can be so heavily rewarded for those strong plays.
Complete 180 from game 4. TSM now with the smashing of an early game, and with the lead, Broken Blade picks up Quicksilver Sash. He's not easily assassinated anymore. Can't be pulled back by that Skarner. If he needs to, he can always cleanse one of the other stuns on the team.
And look at the double early QSS. Acadian as well, actually. So they're putting so much more priority on this, recognizing how much of a threat Smithy has been in these last couple of games.
That's what 3 games against the Skarner will do to you. Make you very willing to cough up the early money for QSSs. We even have some more no magic mantles. I see 2 more in inventory with Ezreal and Braum both sitting on them. Those could possibly also be turned into early QSSs to try and deny those plays that Team Liquid have used in the past 2 games to get us here.
Still, you do have to remember that there is a cost to that QSS. It is certainly not damage that you are building up at this point in the game. It will slow down your progression a little bit, and it's TL on the side here, hoping that Acadian will face check into them. If they're patient enough, they may actually get this.
Yeah, you feel confident as Rek'Sai with your passive.
Oh. Spotted by the Spire, taken. TL running away now. And cleansing that bubble. It's why he brought Summoner Spell. Of course, Core can block with the shield, but now Broken Blade shows up in the mid lane, finds a slow, not the dive out of Jensen, though.
And that was just really good game sense, honestly, from TSM. Bjergsen sniffing it out, Acadian waiting to actually check. They don't see anyone on the map, and that's just smart play.
And you have to continue with that caution in a game 5 like this, not taking those chances, not relaxing for a second.
Oh, they've got the root on Bjergsen, though, but Sven pushing him right back out means there's no root. No kill to be had. Predator, I believe, was popped, but not finding his way in is Smithy. As mid lane is cleared back and forth, it's Bjergsen with the gold lead overall, and individually they are tied in income. Even the solo turret given the double does not make him match up with what Sven has right now. TSM still winning pretty much everywhere. This difference, 2,500, meaningful but not insurmountable.
Exactly, and that's really what it is about. It's about, can you continue to extend it if you're on the side of TSM, and can you hold it here if you are the side of TL? Because if this gold lead does not expand, if you hold that even, if you keep farming up, you're going to feel confident about your chances later on.
And the strength of Team Liquid comes when they group together. The Vladimir, now level 11. Smithy Skarner looking for the pull, playing tank frontline, trying to start the initiation for this team. Will they be able to make it a third?
There's a chunk, but he's so far out of range, doesn't have to burn the E as well. Drake coming up in 10 seconds.
You've also got to wonder, can Doublelift stay safe in these team fights, right? He does not have the Tahm Kench to protect him. And now there is a super fed Akali, a super fed Rek'Sai, these guys who are so strong, have so much farm, and can just dive back onto you.
They just got a very big 2-item power spike there. Ezreal Trinity Force and Muramana transformation for Sven as well. The damage will come through.
Blade on the flank. TSM pushing in. Team Liquid pushing away.
I think this is a risky fight for TL to take. There's such a strong point in the game for TSM, but they're looking anyway.
Several of these targets are okay. 3 are missing Quicksilver Sashes, just not the top in jungle.
They're using the Predator duration here. It has now run out. Ocean Drake leashed once again.
Once again, look at Broken Blade. They know he's down there. They saw him in the minion line. Not going to land the E. Now it's Smithy. Dropped a little bit low, slowed by the Ocean Drake shot yet again. A bit injured. TSM kiting back and forth. They can sustain this. They've got the other Ocean Drake, so their mana bars, their health bars, they go back up. Now the duel between the Assassins, not going to get that one, Jensen. Mid lane now cleared by Ezreal. Vladimir going to do the same to keep that turret alive. Deal once again moving back down. Jensen going for round 2. If he finds a route, they can ult to chase Broken Blade. They're going to go in for this one, and he's going to run. Whoa, that's both ults and the flash burn, but he is out of this fight, and Team Liquid may have just earned that Drake.
Yep, they cannot take the fight anymore without Broken Blade's cooldowns. Team Liquid will start up the Dragon now. Can Acadian possibly go for the steal? He can tunnel in, he can flash out.
Good shield again. He does have flash, as you mentioned. That could be the play. The TP to rejoin. This could be huge. Jensen spotted out. Takes some damage. The burst picked up there by Smithy. Oh, it's a dodge to the one side. Vladimir goes down, though. A pickoff for Bjergsen. Jensen loses the clone. This turret might just be the safe haven they need. Look how low the health bars are, though. The ult burn. Jensen tagged. Acadian does not have the ult. Team Liquid running away, losing 1 kill, but getting the Drake.
Yeah, getting the Ocean Drake actually pretty big for Team Liquid. Big kill for TSM will allow them to push on mid turret though. So will it, in addition to being the kill, also be a turret, another objective? It looks to be so.
Yeah, they should definitely get this. The next Dragon is going to be an Infernal, which would be huge for these teams. When you're looking at TSM's squad, they don't have tanks. They have 4 members building damage, wanting that Infernal buff so much. TL will be helped a bit by the poke now. They can kind of heal that up through the Ocean Dragon, but here's this fight one more time, and we'll see how Impact actually did get picked off, as he does try to come over from behind, likely gets taunted out of that brush, and yeah, they just absolutely burst him down. No chance to get the pool off.
Meanwhile, on the bottom of your screen, Acadian went for the 1v1 with Jensen, got him down to 15% there, and then tunneled out the back. Nobody else goes down, though. Both teams are able to reset. Both teams now have the Ocean Drake regeneration, but TSM still retain a large gold lead.
And they've extended it a little bit more since we checked in last. It was about that 2,000, 2.5K. They are opening that gold lead up a little bit more.
And that gold is being spent on QSSs. Sven with the Ezreal now completing one for himself, and Smoothie on the Galio, a no magic mantle in inventory.
It's only Bjergsen really opting out of this choice, still going for aggressive damage instead. If he can become a target, that's going to be a huge lead for Liquid, but he's been playing it well so far, no deaths.
And at this point for Smithy, it's less about flashing onto a carry and pulling them in, it's more about playing Peel. But they are bringing Jensen down to the bottom lane here. They're looking for Broken Blade.
And decent damage out. Impact gonna just jump into Hemo Plague as they trade spells back and forth.